evening and welcome to TiVi Tuan-san News at 6. My name is Nguyen. In today's news, Hurricane Matthew pounds Cuba after drenching the impoverished nation of Haiti. The Vietnamese government suspends a state-run website and fires its editor-in-chief for violating press regulations. And an Australian man who faked being a Vietnam War veteran is stripped of his replica service medals. To today's top news. Hurricane Matthew has hit Cuba and Haiti with winds of 230 kilometers an hour, pummeling towns, farmland and resorts, and forcing hundreds of thousands of people to take cover. The Category 4 storm is the strongest in the Caribbean in nearly a decade and has been dubbed by the United Nations as the worst humanitarian crisis to hit Haiti since a 2010 earthquake. The US Hurricane Center says Hurricane Matthew is likely to remain a major hurricane through to at least Thursday night as it sweeps through the Bahamas towards the US southeastern coast of Florida. In other world news, Republican vice presidential candidate Mike Pence and his Democratic counterpart Tim Kaine has faced off in the only vice presidential debate in the run-up to the US election. Both candidates clashed over national security, immigration and other issues at Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia. The debate came at a crucial time for both campaigns. Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton is seeking to build on her lead in national opinion polls against her Republican counterpart Donald Trump. The next presidential debate will take place on Monday, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Maria Sharapova says she is counting down the days until she can return to action, having been cleared to play tennis again next April. It follows a decision by an International Court of Arbitration, which reduced the former world number one's 2-year drugs ban by 9 months. The 5-time Grand Slam champion was banned following her positive test for the drug meldonium at this year's Australian Open. Actor Ben Stiller has revealed that he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer 2 years ago. The Emmy winner was diagnosed in June 2014 and was declared cancer-free 3 months later, after undergoing surgery. The Zoolander star said he was one of the lucky ones, having taken a preventative health exam called the prostate-specific antigen test. PSA tests are controversial as a screening test because they can lead to false positive results and unnecessary treatment. Indonesia's Air Force is holding its largest military exercise this week near some of its islands in the South China Sea. Officials say the exercise is a show of sovereignty over the gas-rich area on the fringe of territory claimed by China. In June, President Joko Widodo launched an unprecedented campaign to bolster fishing, oil exploration and defence facilities around the Natuna Island chain after a series of face-offs between the Indonesian Navy and Chinese fishing boats. China has not disputed Indonesia's claims to the Natuna Islands, but argues the two countries have overlapping claims to waters near them, an area Indonesia calls the Natuna Sea. Other branches of the Indonesian Armed Forces are not taking part in the exercise, which ends on Thursday. Now to news in Vietnam. 2 US warships have arrived at Vietnam's strategic naval base at Cam Ranh Bay for the first time since the Vietnam War ended in 1975. In a press release by the US Pacific Command, submarine tender USS Frank Cable and guided missile destroyer USS John S. McCain made the visit on Sunday, marking an important step in fast-growing defense ties between the two former enemies. The visit came after the full lifting of a US embargo on trade in lethal arms with Vietnam in May as part of President Barack Obama's strategic rebalance toward Asia. At the same time, tension has been rising over rival territory claims in the South China Sea, straining ties between Vietnam and its giant neighbour China. Meanwhile, the Vietnamese government has suspended a state-run news website and fired its editor over journalistic violations. The Ministry of Information and Communications made the decisions on Monday, ordering a 3-month suspension of Petro Times and revoking the press card of its editor-in-chief, Nguyen. According to various media reports, the sacking came shortly after Petro Times published parts of an interview with exiled blogger Nguyen, also known as Bùi Thanh Hiếu. In the excerpts, which have since been taken down, the Germany-based anti-government activists reportedly shared documents defending a former official accused of mismanaging a state construction firm. Vietnam's media is tightly controlled by the communist government, which routinely jails dissident bloggers but rarely dismisses top editors. Back to news in Australia. A Melbourne man who claimed he served in Vietnam and reached the rank of a Major General has been stripped of his replica medals. After a 3.5-year battle, Neville Donahue has been found guilty of a string of deception offences at Ringwood Magistrates Court in Victoria. According to the Herald-Sun, a former employee at the Directorate of the Honours and Awards told the court that Donahue was only entitled to wear the Australian Service Medal. Records show that Donahue served in the Australian Army between 1970 and 1976, but not overseas or in operational areas. Donahue told the court he served in Vietnam during 1971 to 1972 while involved in secret activities. He has been ordered to undergo a psychiatric assessment after he told the court he suffered from PTSD from his time in Vietnam. He was bailed and will be sentenced on December 19. Thousands of people are struggling without power as gale force winds bore down on New South Wales overnight. Gusts of up to 107 kilometres per hour were recorded near Wollongong, with the Illawarra and New South Wales south coast most affected. While the worst is over for the mainland, Tasmanians are being warned to watch out for falling trees as 100 kilometres per hour winds reach the state. Yesterday, wild winds ripped through South Australia, much of Victoria and New South Wales. Damaging winds have knocked out power to more than 11,000 homes and businesses. That's all from TiVi Tuan-san News at 6. Thank you for watching. I'm Nguyen. I look forward to your company at the same time tomorrow evening.